Dear friends, during the month of December, during the longest nights of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, festive lights can be found everywhere around us. The streets and squares are decorated and illuminated, as are the shops. We like to create a special atmosphere in our homes by lighting candles. This celebration has always been about the return of the light, the natural light. These short days remind us of our longing for the return of the light. The earth does not possess light by nature. We are dependent on the light from the sun for all life on earth. However, the Christmas story speaks of a different sun, the return of a different light, namely, the light of Christ. The joyful message for all those who long for this light with their heart and their soul is that this light can be born within every human being. If our hearts search for the light and are open to the light, then the effect of the light is healing and sanctifying. If the light is truly born within us, it can only be in the heart, because in the heart, the light can connect with the spiritual light spark, the center of our microcosm. Z.W.Leene, one of the founders of the modern school of the Golden Rosycross, wrote about the light birth in 1937 in his book, The Fire Glow of Ascension. Celebrating Christmas is a happy event when we celebrate in truthfulness the birth festivity with Him, the Christ. Then the light is not only shining on us, but it affects us, it changes us. From natural beings, we then become spiritual human beings. When the light of Christ is born in our souls, it completely fills the human heart and mind. In a spiritual sense, it warms our soul and fills it with a fiery glow. In this fiery glow, the light spark flares up. It becomes radiant and active. The essence of the light is contained in the characteristics love and power. When so touched, a human being then assimilates those values in a new and different way. As a consequence of the touch in the heart, the light can change us from within into the very depth of our being. This calling to humanity is not to follow the light, but to become the light ourselves. God is light, a light that is both transcendent in the solar system and imminent in His creations and creatures. The two together, the light that is both transcendent and imminent, allow the light to connect to us, to be born and to flare up within us. The abstract transcendent light penetrates through the darkness of our being in order to awaken the soul so that the imminent light can become active. Even though we know and experience that we as human beings are not the light ourselves, we know that our souls can be immersed in the light. Once our soul, that is the light spark, has been touched, it also has an effect on how we experience life. We can then experience life as lighter and more joyful, inspired by new insights. We may long to reshape our lives. Each person does this in her or his own way, according to our own nature and capability. However, one thing we do experience in the same way is our longing for the light and our longing for the essence of the light, as seen in such values as love, wisdom, and power. Such a desire is like a flame. It may be a tiny flame, but in fact, it is a light with which we can immediately see what matters in our lives. We can see what the main core of our life is. In the beginning, it might be a bit blurry and unclear, but still, we begin to see it. In our daily life, we begin to work with insights that are newly obtained. We are enthusiastic and would prefer nothing else than to let the light shine through us and do its work in us. However, if we are honest, this is not always noticeable in daily practice. We are indeed willing, and our intentions are good, but matter is obstinate, and the question, what can we really do, forces itself upon us more strongly. We meet resistance inside and outside ourselves, and sometimes there are doubts. At times we feel powerless. And the next questions, am I doing it right? Am I doing enough? Are almost inevitable. Experiencing those questions, Angelus Silesius, a mystic poet from the 17th century, shared the following words with us. Lost, I seek a way, but without fear. No need to be cured from all pain. Utterly hopeful, I learn lessons of surrender and letting go. This is the key, that we try to let go of ourselves, that we actually start to surrender to the light. Only then can the light be born within us and lead us on the path that we have chosen. First, there is light. Then there is life. First, there is the inspiration of the soul. Then there is acting. We quote Jesus' words from the Bible. I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. One of the founders of the school of the Golden Rosycross, Jan van Rickenboer, wrote about this in his book, The Gnosis in Present-Day Manifestation. The light wants to manifest itself to you, and the light field's activity then makes the new approach to life possible. From the believing life to the force life, from the force life to the light life. Such is the course of development on the path. Life comes from light, not light from life. This is, in short, the path we can follow. Everyone who starts to live from faith in the light and in the new life undergoes the power, enters into the connection with the light, and thus comes to new life, because from the light is life. Many images have a connection with the desire to be good and true, both for ourselves and for others. For example, Hermes speaks of goodness, beauty, blissfulness, and wisdom as characteristic aspects of the divine being. The words absolute love, absolute intelligence, and absolute devotion indicate characteristics of the spirit soul. We can read about the 3 holy gifts that were offered to the newborn Jesus Christ: the gold of the spirit, the incense of the soul, and the myrrh for the healing of the body. All these images can encourage us to become good, true, and righteous. Images which Z.W.Leene often elicited in his writings, as in the following quote: "When we implant the light into the nature of our being, only then do we become good. Only then do we become true. Only then do we become righteous. But friends, do you already know its price? The light asks for yourself. The light asks for your help. What then is necessary for you to do? First of all, hunger for the Spirit, and secondly, be earnest, profoundly earnest. Subsequently, devotion, and then service to others. If we meet one another on the basis of the soul, on the basis of the desire for the light, then we see the innermost essence of each other. Then we confirm that desire in each other. Then we are subservient to the other one, both within ourselves and in our fellow human being. The state of subservience therefore means serving the other one in a human being, serving the light spark in the heart. How can we see that for ourselves? Earnest contemplation, concentration, and reflection will help, but also joy, friendship, and living in an inspired way will contribute. As human beings in whom the light spark flares up, we can always experience the connection with this other one within, it being the basis, the foundation of our togetherness. We become increasingly conscious and more open. True, we see our fellow human being with all their limitations, but at the same time we see the soul in everything, as an essence that lies hidden behind all limitations and forms. We see causes and motives coloring our behavior, but we can omit judgment. We can do that because we no longer see ourselves as the nucleus around which everything turns. The light spark is the nucleus. On that basis, we can go and meet each other on the basis of the other one within us. This other one within us is in our heart, the heart of our own microcosm, where the spiritual light spark is waiting for us to recognize it. It is the heart of our inner temple, a space of silence and light that we carry within us and can enter wherever, whenever we are attuned to it. This inner temple is described in the Bible. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? When we enter our inner temple, the light spark in the heart can connect to the light field of the overarching great temple, the temple of the light of Christ. In this way, all those light sparks together form an immense, magnificent light. Just as all rays of the sun together form the immense light of the sun. The spark in the heart is one with the light. True, the light spark might be a tiny light, but what is tiny if it is part of something grand? The spark in the heart is not separated from the light, but it is one with it. In fact, large and small have no meaning in this respect. This paradox is beautifully worded by Angelus Silesius in the following poem. I am as large as God. He is small as me. He cannot be above me. I cannot be beneath him. God is the eternal sun, and I am one ray thereof. Returning to the joyous message of the Christmas story, we can see it as a rebirth of the light that is not consigned to history, but can happen every day within our own heart. If the light is truly born within us, it can only be in the heart, because in the heart, the light can connect with the spiritual light spark, the center of our microcosm. In the words of Angelus Silesius, if Christ 1,000 times in Bethlehem were born, and not within yourself, your soul will be forlorn.